"Daddy, please don't go in there." His daughter's scream echoed in Jake's mind as he stared at the collapsing building. In that moment, a firefighter's oath and a father's instinct collided in the most devastating way possible. Jake Matthews wiped the sweat from his brow as he climbed into Engine 42. After 14 years with the San Francisco Fire Department, he had seen it all. Or so he thought. The summer heat wave had stretched into its second week, making everyone on edge. Power outages plagued the city, and emergency calls had tripled. "Matthews, you look like hell," Captain Rodriguez commented, glancing at Jake's exhausted face. "Just tired, Cap. Emma's nightmares are back." Jake sighed, thinking about his 8-year-old daughter. She'd been having dreams about fires ever since her mother died in a house fire 3 years ago. The irony wasn't lost on Jake, a firefighter who couldn't save his own wife. "We're all running on fumes. One more shift, then you're off for the weekend." Rodriguez patted his shoulder. The alarm blared. Jake's heart quickened as it always did. No matter how many calls he responded to, that surge of adrenaline never dulled. Structure fire, Nob Hill area, possible entrapment. All units respond. Within minutes they arrived at a 3-story Victorian home, flames licking out of the second-floor windows. Neighbors gathered on the sidewalk, pointing and crying. "My daughter," a woman screamed, fighting against a police officer who held her back. "She's still in there. 3rd floor." Jake exchanged glances with his partner Mike. They knew the protocol. The chief hadn't cleared them to enter yet. The structure looked unstable, and they needed to assess before sending anyone in. "Ma'am, how old is your daughter?" Jake asked, approaching the hysterical woman. 7. Her name is Lily. Please." Her face was streaked with tears and soot. "She was sleeping when the fire started. She has asthma." The chief arrived, taking one look at the building. "We need to establish a perimeter. This structure is compromised. The fire's been burning too long. We attack from the outside until we can secure." "There's a child on the 3rd floor, Chief," Jake interrupted. "I heard." The chief's face hardened. "And we'll do everything we can, but I'm not risking my men in a collapse. That's final." Jake felt his stomach twist. He understood protocol. He'd written some of it, but standing there seeing the mother's desperation, all he could think about was Emma. What if it were his daughter? What if someone stood outside waiting while she suffocated? 2 minutes, Jake whispered to Mike. "Cover for me." Mike grabbed his arm. "Don't you dare. That's suicide, Jake." But Jake was already moving, checking his oxygen mask and gear. "Tell the chief I went to secure the perimeter on the east side." "Jake, stop," Mike hissed. Jake disappeared around the corner of the house before anyone else noticed. There was a service entrance that led to the kitchen. The 1st floor was filled with smoke but not yet engulfed. He moved quickly, his training guiding every step. The stairs creaked under his weight, a bad sign. The structure was indeed failing. The 2nd floor was a furnace. Flames danced across the ceiling, and the heat was intense even through his protective gear. He dropped to his knees, crawling beneath the worst of the smoke. The stairs to the 3rd floor were partially collapsed. Without hesitation, Jake tested each step, climbing carefully upward. "Lily," he called through his mask. "Lily, where are you?" A faint cough answered him from the end of the hall. Jake moved as fast as he dared across the groaning floorboards. He found her in a small bedroom, huddled in a closet, clutching a stuffed rabbit. "Hey there, I'm Jake. I'm going to get you out." He reached for her, and the terrified child flew into his arms. "I can't breathe," she wheezed. Jake removed his mask and placed it over her face. "Just for a minute," he told her. "Take some deep breaths." Without protection, the smoke immediately assaulted his lungs. He knew he had seconds, not minutes. After she took a few breaths, he adjusted the mask to share between them and lifted her into his arms. The journey back was a nightmare. The 2nd floor was now fully engulfed, blocking their exit. Jake retreated to a bathroom with a window overlooking the side yard. He could hear the radio chatter. They were looking for him. The chief knew. "Matthews, report your position immediately." Jake keyed his radio. 3rd floor, west side bathroom. "I have the child. Need ladder assistance." There was a moment of silence before the chief's voice, cold with fury, responded, "Ladder en route. You're suspended the moment you hit the ground, Matthews." Jake looked at Lily, whose breathing was already improving with the clean oxygen. "Worth it," he whispered. The window suddenly exploded inward as the building shifted. Jake shielded Lily with his body as glass shards rained down. He could hear the structure beginning to fail. "We need to jump," he told her. "The ladder might not make it in time." "I'm scared," Lily whimpered. "Me too," Jake admitted, "but I've got you." He wrapped her tightly in his arms, positioning his body to take the impact. There was a pile of bushes below that might break their fall, but it was still a dangerous drop. "Close your eyes," he instructed. As Jake prepared to jump, the ladder appeared at the window like a miracle. Mike was climbing up, rage and relief battling on his face. "You stupid son of a..." Pike stopped, seeing Lily. "Give her to me." Jake handed Lily through the window. As soon as she was secure, the floor beneath him groaned and then gave way. Jake lunged for the window, but too late. The last thing he saw was Mike's horrified face as he plummeted through the collapsing floor. Pain, darkness, suffocating heat. Jake couldn't move. Something heavy pinned his legs. He tried to call out but could only cough. This was it. After all the fires he'd fought, he was going to die exactly like his wife had, trapped in a burning building. Thoughts of Emma flooded his mind. Her smile when he came home from her little voice saying, "Be careful, Daddy." Who would take care of her now? He had been so stupid, so reckless. As consciousness began to slip away, Jake heard voices, felt hands on him, the weight lifted from his legs. Then nothing. When Jake opened his eyes, the steady beep of a hospital monitor greeted him. His throat felt like he'd swallowed glass. Every breath was agony. "Welcome back, hero." It was Mike sitting beside the bed. "Lily," Jake croaked. "She's fine. Not even a hospital stay. You on the other hand." Mike grimaced. "3 broken ribs, fractured femur, second-degree burns on your back and arms, and smoke inhalation that nearly killed you." Jake closed his eyes, relief washing over him. "The chief wants your badge." Mike's voice was grim. "He's serious, Jake. You violated direct orders, endangered yourself and potentially others. The department can't just overlook that." Jake nodded slowly. He had known the consequences when he made his choice. "How long was I out?" 4 days. "Emma's been staying with my family. She's visited every day." The door opened, and a nurse entered. "You're awake. I'll get the doctor, and there's someone else who's been waiting to see you." A moment later, Lily peeked around the doorframe, her mother behind her. The little girl ran to the bed, stopping just short of touching him. "You saved me," she said simply, her eyes wide with admiration. Her mother stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "Mr. Matthews, I don't have words." She clasped his hand gently. "Lily is my whole world." Jake managed a smile, though it hurt. "Just doing my job." "No." She shook her head firmly. "You weren't. That's what makes you a hero." After they left, Jake stared at the ceiling. A hero without a job. What would he do now? How would he support Emma? 3 days later, Jake was discharged. His leg was in a cast, and he moved with crutches. Captain Rodriguez visited him at home, officially delivering the news of his termination. "I fought for you," Rodriguez said, genuine regret in his voice. "But the chief wouldn't budge, said making an exception for you would undermine the entire command structure." Jake nodded, accepting the paperwork. "I understand, Cap. No hard feelings." After Rodriguez left, Jake sat on his porch, watching Emma play in the yard. The neighborhood kids had made her a celebrity, the daughter of the firefighter who saved little Lily Chen despite orders not to. Emma wore the attention like a badge of honor. But Jake knew the truth. His recklessness could have left her an orphan. A sleek black car pulled up to the curb. A man in an expensive suit stepped out, followed by a woman Jake recognized as Lily's mother. "Mr. Matthews," the man approached with an outstretched hand. "I'm Richard Chen, Lily's father. May we speak with you?" Jake invited them inside, curious. Emma tagged along, eyeing Mr. Chen with suspicion. "Are you here about the fire?" she asked bluntly. Mr. Chen smiled. "In a way, Your father saved my daughter's life. That's his job, Emma stated proudly. He's the best firefighter ever. The adults exchanged glances. Jake corrected gently. I was fired, Emmy. What? Emma's face fell. But you're a hero, Mrs. Chen. Jake now learned her name was Sophia, knelt before Emma. Yes, he is, and that's why we're here. Richard Chen cleared his throat. Mr. Matthews, I'm the CEO of Chen Enterprises. We own several properties throughout California, including the San Francisco Safety Foundation. Jake's eyebrows rose. The foundation was one of the largest private donors to emergency services in the city. When Sophia told me what happened, how you were terminated for saving our daughter, I was appalled. Chen's expression hardened. I made some calls. Your chief is stubborn. Jake laughed, then winced at the pain in his ribs. That's one word for it. Indeed, while I couldn't convince him to reinstate you, I have a different proposition. Chen handed Jake a business card. The foundation is establishing a new firefighter training program, focusing specifically on high-risk rescues and decision-making in crisis situations. We need someone to lead it, someone who understands both protocol and when human judgment must prevail. Jake stared at the card. You want me to run a training program, with full benefits, a substantial salary increase, and most importantly, the chance to shape the next generation of firefighters. Chen smiled. Your experience, both your years of service and this recent incident, make you uniquely qualified. But I broke protocol, Jake said, still processing. Yes, Sophia interjected, and saved our daughter's life. The point of protocol is to save lives, not forfeit them for the sake of rules. Emma tugged at Jake's shirt. Does this mean you'll still be a firefighter, Daddy? Not exactly, sweetheart. Jake looked from his daughter to the Chens. But I'll still be helping people. In the weeks that followed, Jake threw himself into his new role. The pain of his injuries faded faster than the pain of leaving his firehouse family, but the training center gave him purpose. His story spread among the firefighting community, becoming both a cautionary tale and an inspiration. Emma started spending time with Lily, the girls becoming fast friends despite their different backgrounds. Jake often found himself invited to the Chens for dinner, where conversations with Sophia stretched late into the evening. There was something about her, her warmth, her understanding, her quiet strength, that resonated with him in a way no one had since his wife. 6 months later, Jake stood before his first graduating class of specialized rescue firefighters. His leg had healed, though it ached when rain threatened. The burns had left scars across his back, physical reminders of his choice. Protocol exists for a reason, he told the attentive faces before him. It saves lives, your lives. But sometimes, rarely, there comes a moment when your training, your experience and your heart all tell you something different than what protocol dictates. In those moments you must choose, knowing the consequences, prepared to accept them. From the back of the room he spotted Sophia and Lily. They had come to surprise him. Beside them sat Emma, beaming with pride. Being a firefighter isn't just about fighting fires, Jake continued. It's about fighting for life in all its forms, in all its moments. Sometimes that fight means following every rule to the letter. Sometimes it means risking everything for a stranger. After the ceremony, Sophia approached him, her eyes shining. That was beautiful, Jake. I meant every word, he said, suddenly aware of how close she was standing. I know you did. That's what makes you who you are. She hesitated. The girls are having a sleepover at my sister's tonight. I thought maybe we could have dinner, just the two of us. Jake felt a flutter in his chest that had nothing to do with his healed ribs. I'd like that. Later that night, sitting across from Sophia at a quiet restaurant, Jake realized he was smiling more than he had in years. When their hands touched across the table, neither pulled away. I never thanked you properly, Sophia said softly. You've thanked me 1,000 times, Jake responded. The job, the program. No, she interrupted. Not for saving Lily, for showing me what courage really looks like. After my divorce, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. Then you ran into a burning building for a child you didn't know. She blinked back tears. How could I not fall for someone like that? Jake's heart pounded. Sophia, too soon, she asked, suddenly vulnerable. Jake reached across the table and gently wiped a tear from her hair. Not soon enough. 1 year later, Jake stood in the backyard of his new home, a house big enough for 4. Emma and Lily were setting the table on the patio, arguing good-naturedly about seating arrangements. His training program had expanded to 3 more cities, saving countless lives through better preparation and judgment. Sophia appeared beside him, slipping her hand into his. Her wedding ring caught the sunlight. "Penny for your thoughts, Fire Chief Matthews," she teased, using the nickname the girls had given him. Jake pulled her close. "Just thinking about choices. If I had followed protocol that day, then we wouldn't be here," she finished for him. "Sometimes breaking the rules is exactly what the universe intends." From inside, Jake's phone rang. It was Richard Chen calling with news that the mayor wanted to present Jake with a civilian service medal for his training program's success. "Will you accept?" Richard asked. Jake looked at his family, the daughter who had been his reason for living after losing his wife, the girl he had risked everything to save, and the woman who had helped him build a new life from the ashes of his old one. "Yes," Jake answered, "but only if I can share it with the people who made it possible." That night, as Jake tucked Emma into bed, she asked the question she'd been pondering all day. "Daddy, if you could go back, would you still run into that fire, even knowing you'd get fired?" Jake brushed the hair from her forehead, thinking carefully. "In a heartbeat, sweetie. Some choices define who we are. Like choosing to be brave even when it's scary," Emma asked sleepily. "Exactly like that. The bravest choice isn't always the safest one." He kissed her forehead. "It's the one your heart knows is right." As he turned out the light, Emma murmured, "I'm glad you made that choice, Daddy." Jake paused in the doorway, looking at his daughter. "Me too, Emmy, every single day." Sometimes the greatest fires in life aren't the ones we fight with water and foam, but the ones we ignite with courage. Jake Matthews lost a job but found a family, proving that when we choose humanity over rules, we often discover the path we were always meant to walk. What would you do if faced with an impossible choice? Could you risk everything to save a stranger? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more heart-wrenching true stories that will change how you see the world. Your support helps us bring these incredible journeys of courage to life each week. Hit that notification bell. Your next favorite story is just 1 click away.